England will go into the Egypt game with a new captain. What do you expect from Rio Ferdinand in terms of captaincy on the field?
Well, we hope he's fit enough to play, that's for sure. You expect him to play with the maturity that he's shown for Manchester United over the last few years. You know, I'm sure it was a tough call, to be honest with you. I think when Fabio was looking for the captain, you know, a year or 2 years ago, or however long it was, Rio would have been a real contender for that at the time. Now, we feel as though within the squad we've got a few players that we can look at that we call captain material. Now, circumstances have dictated that there's been a change of captaincy. For me, it's a fantastic lift for any individual to be given the England captaincy. Now, Rio, it must make him feel 10 foot tall, a backing of confidence from the manager once again. And we just need for him to get a run of games together and get that run of form together that we know he's capable of. I was fortunate enough to play alongside him at West Ham, 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, to be honest with you. As a young boy breaking through the ranks at West Ham, it's a pleasure to play alongside. And he always had an appetite. Well, he had ability which underpinned everything, really. I mean, a fantastic ability as a player. You knew he was destined for the top, even at the early days at West Ham. He's matured once again, he's matured as he's grown in stature in football. And the accolade of being a captain is something you should relish, especially when you get given the opportunity to captain your country. There's very few people who've given that opportunity.
And how do you expect John Terry to react to not being captain anymore? Is that going to be difficult for him?
No. I would expect John to react exactly how John would. You asked me what a captain had to have, and I said they have to be totally unselfish, you know what I mean? And I think John is that. His form's been fantastic this season. I think he's a great captain. Now, whether he walks out at the head of the team or somewhere in the lineup, John will still be a captain in his heart and in his head, and he'll do exactly. I fully expect him to do exactly the same things as he done as if he was leading the team out. You won't see a lesser player or a lesser individual or a lesser voice on a pitch. Now, he's had a difficult period just recently, but I fully expect someone with a mentality as strong as John's to come through that and be a stronger person for it eventually.
Theo Walcott not in your England U21 squad. Is that a good indicator that he might be involved against Egypt?
It's not a good indicator for me because I'd like him playing for the under-21s, to be honest with you. I've got a tough game next week, but it might well be an indicator that he could be in the full squad, yes.
How do you sort of rate Theo's progress? Because he's obviously had a lot of problems with injuries. Is that set him back at all?
Of course. The fact he's not played so many games this year, last year as well, was the same. Has been a problem for him. I think what he needs now is a consistent run of form, From what I can gather, he played particularly well at the weekend. Maybe the timing of that was good. And there's competition for places, so he has to string some form together, certainly some matches together, and on top of that some form together and put that run together. Ability wise, he's undoubtedly got a great deal of ability, but I think the same applies for everybody that's vying for a place in the squad at the moment. You have to come into form between now and the end of the season for Fabio to turn around and say, right, this one's good enough for me to get into the squad. Just
the last one. There's been some stories in the paper today about England's World Cup base. Are there any concerns about it, or are we worrying about nothing at the moment when you look at those pictures?
Well, I think you'll find, as I've seen many times over the years, if it's not something about personal lives of players, it will be about a training camp, and between now and the summer, I'm sure there'll be many stories that are a problem. I think the training pit, I think that the camp itself, from what I can gather, has been is pretty good, the facility wise. I think that the pitches need some attention and some work to be done to them. The FA have got in hand. Obviously, any concerns have been voiced to the South Africans in respect to that. We obviously want a training pitch as good as the training pitches we play on a daily basis in this country, So I think the work's in hand. Any misgivings, I'm pretty sure that Fabio will be on top of the situation and making everything exactly as he wants it. He's a perfectionist in the way he works, and he'll not sit back and take second best. He doesn't take it from the team, and I don't think he'll take it from facility-wise.